Today, we are going to do Principles of Management Part 3. And in this, we are going to study the 14 principles given by Fayol. Now, let us study a little bit about Fayol. Now, Fayol is called the father of general management, and he was a French and an engineer. So, an engineer is given the principles of management. And he gave the principles for the managers, how to get the work done. And Fayol felt that the number of principles could be numerous. So we should be thankful that we have only 14 of those principles in our syllabus. So let's start. Now these 14 principles, I have put it in a diagram form with 7 principles on each page. Now let's start with the first one, that is division of work. So Fayol said that the work should be divided into small tasks or job. And this task should be done by a trained specialist who should be competent to be able to do the job. Now, what happens when a trained person is doing the job? Then he starts specializing in it. And when he starts specializing in it, he has to put less effort to get the same work done. So this leads to more productivity. And most of the organizations are using this concept because they create the departments according to the functions being performed. That is nothing but division of work. So the first principle was division of work. Then second is authority and responsibility. Now authority is the right to get the work done, and responsibility is the obligation or the duty to do the work. Now Fayol said there should be a balance between authority and responsibility. If authority is more, responsibility is less, work will not be done. If responsibility is more, authority is less, again the work will not be done. So they should be balanced or commensurate. They should commensurate with each other. For example, a manager told his subordinate to go to a particular place and go and get those raw material from there. Now it takes half an hour to go and half an hour to come, 1 hour, and then buying the raw material also. So he was not given any vehicle, nothing, and he was told to come back in 1 hour, which was not possible. So he was given the responsibility, but no authority. So as a result, that subordinate never went because he knew it was not humanly possible to go. He went to the nearby park, sat there for some time, and then after 1 hour came back and said that shop was closed. Another manager, he gave the keys to his vehicle, to his jeep, to his subordinate and said, go and get the raw material from that particular place. He never gave him any time. He never noted the mileage of the vehicle that he gave. So this fellow, what he did, he went home, took his family, took them out for a trip and came back, left the family home, came back and he said the shop was closed. I kept waiting outside for a long time. The shop was closed. So if there is no balance between authority and responsibility, the work will not be done. So to get the work done, this has to be done. But at the same time, he also stressed that a manager has a right to punish his subordinate for not obeying his order, but at least first give him sufficient opportunity to prove, to say why he has not done the work. For example, in an organization, a carpenter was called to get some furniture made. So the carpenter was told that all the tools and the wood is kept in that tool room. So you can take it from there. Saying that, the manager went to do his work. He went for outside job. So the carpenter said, okay, I'll start working. When he went to the tool room, it was locked. And the manager had forgotten to give the keys for the tool room to the carpenter. So the carpenter kept on waiting that now he'll come. And he kept waiting the entire day for the manager to come. At the end of the day, the manager came and the carpenter had done nothing because the key to the tool room was not given to him. And those days there was no mobile that he could contact the manager. So the carpenter said, give me today's daily wages. Manager said, I'm not giving you. You have not done anything. Now, do you think the carpenter should be getting his daily wages? Think about it for a moment. Yes, he should be, because there was no balance between authority and responsibility. Responsibility was given. He was given the work to do, but he was not given the authority to the tool room. He was not given the keys to the tool room. Therefore, the manager had to pay the carpenter. So this is the second principle, authority and responsibility. Then comes discipline. Discipline means obedience to organizational rules. So whatever rules are there, whatever agreement has been there, both the workers as well as the managers, they have to adhere to it. They have to follow it. And if they don't, that means this principle is being violated. Now this example explains it very clearly. Now, once the management and the workers entered into an agreement that the workers would put in like extra hours of time without any additional payment because the organization was going through a lean period. And in return, when the products would be sold, then the workers' wages would be increased. But the management never kept their part of the bargain. The workers worked. The workers worked and they produced extra, but the management did not meet their commitment. This was lack of discipline on the part of the management. So discipline means that both the workers and the management should meet their commitment towards each other. So the third principle is that of discipline. Then comes unity of command. Unity of command says that one subordinate should have only one boss. If one subordinate has got more than one boss, then it will lead to chaos and confusion. And it is not vice versa. One superior can have more than one subordinates. So for example, the salesman was given the target of selling sales at 10% discount. The marketing manager told him that sell the goods at 10% discount because more the discount, more will be the sales. But the finance manager told him, don't sell it at 10% discount, sell it at 5% discount because more discount if you give, that means the profit will be less. Now the salesman is confused. He doesn't know whether to sell at 10% or 5%. So he'll try to avoid selling altogether. So if there's more than one boss, then it leads to chaos and confusion. Therefore, Fayol said that there should be unity of command. Then comes unity of direction. Everybody should move in the same direction. Everybody should have the same objective. One head, one plan. This is very important. It has come in the board and students are not able to get it. So I'll explain it so that you remember those points. I'm going to give you some hints in this. One head, one plan. One person should be put in charge of only one thing. For example, if a company is making automobiles and they're making motorcycle as well as cars, then there should be two separate divisions, for motorcycle separate and for car separate. And at no time, in no case, never should the work of both the divisions be overlapping. You cannot have one manager looking after cars and motorcycles both. This is unity of direction. If one person is given one work, he should work only in that direction, not any other direction. Now, what will happen if some superior is working in the cars department and now he's been put in motorcycle department? Maybe he will start using the same tools and same nuts and bolts, and the motorcycle may wobble because he's using wrong nuts and bolts because he's used to making cars. So the product that he's making may not be up to the mark. So therefore, each division should have their own in charge, they should have their own plan, and they should have their own resources. And in no case should their work be overlapping. This is called unity of direction. Then unity of direction and unity of command, you need to know the difference between them. Under unity of command, one subordinate should have one superior, and unity of direction is one head, one plan. And the aim is to prevent dual subordination. And unity of is to overlapping. There should not be any overlapping. No two divisions should overlap. And implication, this affects the individual. Unity of command affects each and every individual. And whereas unity of command affects the entire organization. Now come to the 6th point, subordination of individual interest to general interest. Subordination means putting it lower. So whenever there's a clash between individual interest and that of the organizational interest, then the subordinate should give up his own interest in the larger interest of the organization, because no one person is bigger than an organization. So organizational interest should always take priority over individual interest. For example, during Diwali, a lot of production has to be made. So there's demand for goods. Now the management wants the workers to work overtime. Now this particular worker is planning to go to Vaishno Devi with his family. Now his interest is clashing with that of the organizational interest. In such a case, he should give up his own interest in the larger interest of the organization, because today he's sacrificing his interest for the organization. Tomorrow the organization will take care of him. So if you take care of the organization will do the same. So therefore, subordinate, no one person is ever bigger than an organization. This is what this principle says, but it is very difficult to implement. But Fayol also said that the superior should lead from the front, and the superior should not fall into the temptation of misusing powers for himself. Like himself, he's coming late, but he's expecting the workers to come on time. So he has to give an example himself to the workers. Only then the workers will follow. So this is the sixth principle. Then comes remuneration of employees. Everybody who works wants good remuneration, but it is not always possible. Remuneration should be reasonable to both the employer as well as the employee. So, and this remuneration should be able to give the employee a decent standard of living so that he is able to maintain a particular standard of living. And this is according to the principle of contingency. And remuneration should be just and equitable. And because if the remuneration is good, then it will be create a very congenial environment and good relations between management and workers. So there's a saying that if you give peanuts, you get monkeys. So the remuneration should not be very less. Otherwise, you will not get proper people to do your work. Then comes centralization and decentralization. Now, C for centralization, C for concentration of authority, and D for decentralization, that means dispersal of authority. So concentration or centralization means all the authority is kept by the top management. They take all the decisions. So generally sole proprietor, very small organizations, they have centralization, and big organizations have decentralization. Or where secrecy is very important, then all the decisions are taken only in one place so that the secrets nobody knows. And decentralization is generally done in large organizations where too many people are there and all the decisions cannot be taken by the top management. But Fayol said there should be a balance between centralization and decentralization. We say that organization is centralized where most of the decisions are taken by the top, and that organization is decentralized, in which most of the decisions are taken by the lower level management. It is spread throughout the levels of management. So we cannot say that any organization is completely centralized or completely decentralized. It all depends upon the extent of centralization or decentralization that is there in the organization. Then comes scalar chain. Now, Fayol believed that there is a particular hierarchy and that needs to be followed. Now look at this diagram given here. If A needs to talk to D, then A will talk to B, B will talk to C, and C will talk to D. In that particular hierarchy, you cannot miss it. You can talk to your superior will talk to his superior. Like that, the chain of hierarchy will follow. So the formal lines of authority is called scalar chain. And this is also called the chain of communication. In case C wants to talk to F, then normally C should talk to B, B will talk to A to E, E to F. Like that it will go. But in case of an emergency, suppose there's an emergency, then C can directly talk to F. But C needs to inform his superior B, and F also needs to inform his superior E. So you can use gangplank. Gangplank is to be used in case of emergency. What is gangplank? Patta. Just like a straight piece of wooden piece on which you can walk across. C can walk across to F. Now suppose E wants to talk to E, C wants to talk to E. Can you think how that can be done? Because gangplank has to be on the same level. So either C will talk to B and B will talk to E, or C will talk to F and F will talk to E. So the gangplank has to be in a straight line. Now this has to be, cannot be violated in any case. And in case of extreme emergency, for example, the boiler has burst in the factory and the workers, and they don't know, and the toxic gases have started releasing, they're odorless, you can't smell it. Now this information needs to be immediately reached to the CEO. Top management has to be told the workers are being evacuated, but who all need to be informed and what all needs to be done, that has to be seen. So this is an extreme emergency. In that case, the workers can directly approach the CEO. So this is scalar chain. Then comes order. Fayol said that there are two types of order, material order and social order. Material, as the name suggests, is for the things. Suppose the worker who has done the work for the day is just left the tools in the tool rooms haphazardly. Here and there he is thrown, and now he's gone for leave for 10 days. Now another worker has been appointed. Now that worker has spent the entire morning looking for the tools because he's not able to find it, because the previous worker kept it just like that somewhere. Now those can't be found. So that new worker has wasted half the day. Now he's going to be paid only for half the day. So everything should be kept in its place. That is called material order. And then comes social order. Social order means a place for every person. Now sometimes the superior or the supervisor or the plant superintendent, for certain time he's in the factory. Certain time of the day is in the administrative office. Certain time of the day is in the field job, buying something or doing some other work on the field. So he could be at different places at different time. Now, where is he? You need to contact him. There's an emergency that has come up. You need to clarify something, or somebody has fallen sick. He needs to be taken home. Now, you need to inform the supervisor, but you don't know where he is. You'll be looking for him all over the place and you can't find him. So there should be some chart put up in the organization where you should know that from 9 o'clock in the morning till this time he is going to be in the factory. From this time to this time he'll be doing administrative work, and he'll be in the administrative office, B block, or which floor, which room. And after that, in the evening, he would be out in the field. So then you can trace him. So a place for everything and everything in place. So to increase the efficiency so that people do not waste time looking for things and looking for people, order is necessary. Then comes equity. Now, during the time Fayol gave these principles, that time men and women were paid different for the same work. So therefore, he forwarded he made this principle of equity. But that is not relevant now. Now the things have changed, but now equity has got a new meaning. Equity now emphasizes kindliness and justice in the behavior of managers towards workers. Treat everybody equal. So whether a person is from another religion, language, caste, belief, nationality, treat them same. And because nowadays many people are working in multinational companies, like for example, you're working in Coca-Cola in America, and there during Diwali you want leave. So they say Diwali is in the evening. Why do you want leave? And for their own festival, they are taking 1 week leave. So this is discrimination. So the principle of equity says that everybody should be treated equally, whether they belong to any religion, any nation, everything. And Fayol also said the lazy personnel should be dealt with sternly to send the message that everyone is equal. So don't discriminate between anybody on any basis. Treat everybody equal. That is the principle of equity. Then stability of personnel. They said when you keep a person for a job, first of all, give him training. First of all, find the right person for the job. Rigorous procedure. Selection procedure should be very thorough. So keep the person who actually deserves the job. Then give that person training. Then let that person work on the job for some time. Let him prove himself. Do not keep shifting him from one job to another, because otherwise that person will feel that I'm being used as a stepney. You're not giving any particular job, and they will not develop loyalty towards the organization. And at the first given opportunity, they'll leave your job. So stability of personnel says that employee turnover can be minimized if the people are selected properly after rigorous procedure and they are kept on that particular job for a certain fixed time, and give them time to show their results. Don't panic. They have just joined. They will take some time to give your result. They will give you result because you have selected them. And if you don't do that, then it will lead to instability in the organization and people will leave your organization. So this was the principle of stability of personnel. Then comes initiative. Initiative means taking the first step with self-motivation. How many of you have ever gone shopping for clothes, let's say, all by yourself? You're not taking your mother or family or friends. And I'm not talking about online shopping. Online, everybody does by themselves. Initiative is going and doing it all by yourself. How many times have you raised your hand in the class to ask a question or answer a question? This is initiative. Initiative should be developed. Initiative is the trait of an intelligent person. So if any worker is showing an initiative, any employee is showing an initiative, that should be encouraged, because that shows a promise that the person is capable of doing so much more. So Fayol said that a company should have an employee suggestion system whereby initiative suggestions which result in substantial time and cost reduction should be rewarded. So if anybody is given a suggestion, let us say a worker says that we have a 6-hour schedule and we have one break in between of 1 hour. So instead of that, what you do is you give us 2 breaks of half an hour. So after 2 hours, give a half an hour break, then we'll work for 2 hours, then another half an hour break, and then we'll work for 2 hours. So we'll work for 6 hours, but divide that 1 hour break into 2 breaks of half an hour. Then we feel rejuvenated, because once the first break is coming to an end, we realize that there's another break coming up. So we still have more time. And then after the second break is over, we just have 2 hours more to work. So we can start looking forward to going home also. And that increased the productivity. So honor that person, reward that person, because he has given some suggestions. So valuable suggestions should always be rewarded, so that people take initiative. This is first step itself, motivation. So this is the principle of initiative. And then finally, Espirit De Corps. Espirit De Corps means team spirit. Everybody should work as a team. Nobody should work as one as only themselves. So he said that replace I with we. Don't say I'll do it, I'll get the work done. We will do it. The manager should say we will do it. One manager always used to emphasize on the word we. He says everybody will use the word we. They will not say I. So the workers used to make fun of him, just a joke. And they would, if they had to go to the washroom, they would say, sir, may we go to the washroom? They would never say, may I go to the washroom? Why? Because he said, don't use the word I, always use we. So because if you use we, then this inculcates team spirit and mutual trust and belongingness is created. And this helps minimize the use of penalties. Then you don't have to penalize anybody because everybody is working in tandem with each other. Now a comparative analysis of Taylor and Fayol's principles, because these have come in the board exam, so you should study them also. What was the perspective? Now Fayol was talking about the top management and Taylor gave the principles for the workers or the shop floor. Shop floor means factory. Then unity of command, Fayol gave the principle of unity of command, whereas Taylor did not. Taylor gave the technique of functional foremanship in which one worker had 8 superiors, so he did not support it. Then applicability, Fayol's principles are generally applicable because he's called the father of general management also because of this. And Taylor's principles are applied only to specialized situations. Then basis of formation, Fayol's principles were on personal experience, like division of work, etc. And Taylor was observation and experimentation. And focus, Fayol focused on overall administration because he talked about the management or the administration. And Fayol talked about the shop floor, remember? And he talked about increasing production or productivity. Then personality, Fayol was a practitioner and Taylor was a scientist because his principles are scientific principles. Then expression, what book did he write? Fayol wrote the General Theory of Administration and Taylor wrote Scientific Management. And with that, we come to the case study. So as always, we'll first see that what is being talked about, what is being asked, and then we'll read the case study. State the principle of management described in the above para. And this came in 2014 compartment paper. So we have to see the principle. Now again, if only the principle is asked, so generally it is general principle. If they have asked a scientific principle, then we have to see about a Taylor. So Telco Limited is manufacturing files and folders from old clothes to discourage use of plastic files and folders. For this, they employ people from nearby villages where very less job opportunities are available. An employee, Harish, designed a plan for the cost reduction, but it was not welcomed by the production manager. Another employee gave some suggestion for improvement in design, but it was also not appreciated by the production manager. State the principle of management described in the above paragraph. I'm sure you must have got the answer, but I'll give you a moment to recollect. Yes, you've spotted it correct. Suggestion for improvement, that is initiative. Everybody should be allowed to give suggestions, constructive suggestions. And the principle is initiative. So that's all in this video. Thank you.